Yo dude! Steve here, welcome to Epic Vegan Pizza. So we spent a week with Waitrose in Dorset in southern England making incredible vegan pizzas out of wood-fired ovens. So we really understand the components of what go into making an incredible dairy-free pizza that tastes equally as good, if not better, than any other pizza we've eaten anywhere in the world. First step, we're gonna make our base. So in a large mixing bowl, I have 400 grams of white flour. Ideally, if you can get strong flour, it's gonna have a higher protein content, make the gluten more available. If not, normal flour will work perfect. Get a large pinch of salt, and it goes in on top. So first top tip to adding more flavor to your pizza is develop each separate layer. Try to pump up the flavor, really try to inject flavor into it. So in our base, typically a base would be just normal. When we were making them in Dorset, we were picking wild garlic from the woods and putting them in. Today we're gonna just put oregano or any type of herb of choice that you like. So whether it be basil you like, whether it be, typically in the base you wanna use a strong herb, such as like a rosemary, a thyme, as opposed to basil. Basil would be quite weak and it would kind of goo a little bit. Okay, so I've added in loads of fresh oregano. I'm just gonna give it a little bit of a mix, coat my hands, boom, boom, boom. Okay, 400 grams of strong white flour or white flour of choice, 250 ml of water. I'm gonna use some active dried yeast. In goes 7 grams, or about 1 and a little bit, teaspoons. To activate that yeast, I'm just gonna put a little bit of liquid sweetener. The reason why we do it in the water is just that it's fed. The yeast then immediately starts growing, it's more active when it's ready to go. Give it a good mix, we want our little yeast granules to dissolve. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, let's make a well in the middle. One top tip is to make sure you have flour out ready just to use to coat your hands, because it will get sticky as we knead our dough. Make a little well in the middle, let's pour in all our dough, or all our water. It's 250 ml, including the yeast. And start bringing it in from the sides. So what we're trying to do here is we're trying to bring our dough all together. There's something so lovely about mixing a dough, like getting your hands stuck in. You'll kind of understand it. Like the one thing I always say when you're making a dough is turn off your brain. You'll just connect with it. It's like kind of in our genes, or it's kind of like, I don't know, there's something beautiful about mixing a dough anyway. So if it gets too sticky, just add a little bit more flour around the outside, just a little bit, just make sure, and just keep kneading it. We're gonna knead this for 10 minutes, and what's happening in this process is we're developing gluten. So the flour is creating more elasticity, which is gonna enable our dough to rise and just to create just a nicer, lighter, fluffier dough. One of the main ways many people will be wondering, how do I know if my dough's ready? One of the simple ways of knowing your dough is ready is if you hold it up to the light, and you can spread it open like that, and you can still see the light without it breaking. There, can you see it there? You can see through it, it's transparent, but it's not breaking. Yeah, if you hold that to the light, you'll see it. You'll understand it more when I say it better. So literally, we're just gonna fold our dough into a nice little dough ball. Just get a nice shape on it. Take out a little bit of flour, give it a light dusting. Leave it our thing. We're gonna leave this rise for an hour. And the reason why I put cling film or cling wrap or a towel over it is just that it doesn't dry out. Okay, great. I'm gonna leave it sit for an hour, and it's just until it doubles in volume. Oh, here's what I prepared earlier. So you'll see the volume is not only doubled, but it's tripled. So don't worry if you do see it like that. So you'll see the little air pockets from the yeast. So when you're looking at that, you might feel a little intimidated going, how do I get it? First step, coat your hands in flour, get a bit of flour on the top, and just bring it in together. We're doing a thing called what's called knocking it back. Okay. A typical 10-inch pizza to 12-inch pizza is about 200 grams. So I'm gonna split this into 2, and that's gonna make 2 lovely pizzas. So now we have 2. It's really light, fluffy dough. It feels like, as a kid, we used to play with Play-Doh, or mala it was called in Ireland. Just reminds me of that. It's beautiful, beautiful texture. Anyway, let's make our pizza. Okay, so I've preheated the oven to 250 degrees to the hottest temperature. Two things that will make your pizza a little bit better is one, if you have a pizza stone or just simple like a tile that you cook it on, you're gonna get more crispier base. The other one is if your oven, the heat can come from the bottom, it's gonna generate a crispier base. And if not, you're still gonna develop a great pizza. When making your dough, many people have different dough philosophies. I like it skinny, I like it thin, I like it crispy and a little bit of a crust on it. So that's what we're aiming for. So we've got a work surface here. I'm gonna just dust it off just to our dough as a nice dusting. And roll on our beautiful rolling pin. Just give it, this is a nice marble one. I like to do it by hand initially. I was in Tuscany during the summer. I remember watching a really cool dude make it by hand. And I loved watching him do it. I thought it was really beautiful. Because you can really get that nice crust and that lovely circle, sphericalness. So I'm using gravity here just to fold it out. So here what I'm trying to do is make the inside super thin and skinny, and the outside there's a bit of crust on it. And if there are little holes, don't worry, it's totally cool. Got our baking tray. I have some baking parchment. Okay, so I've got our baking parchment, our baking tray. If you're kind of sitting here going, how do I get this on? Literally pop it down, pop that down, flip it around. And voila, there we are. You can just shape it around the other way. It's just an easy, kind of lazier way of doing it. Okay, time to make our passata. So that, again, that was half the dough, so that was 200 grams. We're gonna make a simple passata, or simple just tomato sauce. Typically a tomato sauce is just a sweet tomato, but I think you're missing an opportunity if you're just simply adding tomato. So we're putting in just a simple passata, straightforward passata. And we're gonna take it to the next level by adding in some pesto. By adding pesto, you're gonna get more crispy, more caramelization in the top of the dough, and you're just gonna add more flavor. So we make an epic sun-dried tomato pesto. This was a recipe I came up with about 12 years ago. It's top secret, so unfortunately I can't share it. But so I'm gonna put in about 100 grams of pesto. So any type of sun-dried tomato pesto you can get your hands on. Just mix it through. It's just gonna add more body, more flavor, and just make that pizza just more next level. Okay, there's a passata ready. Last thing, I'm gonna prep our veg. So the pizza is typically gonna take 10 to 12 minutes in this oven at 250 degrees. Make sure to try to choose faster cooking veg, or if you're gonna choose a starchy veg, you need to chop it very thin. So I've gone with courgette, I've gone with peppers, and I've gone with a little bit of sweet potato. Okay, I'm gonna oil and salt the veg just before it goes on, so pop it into a bowl. Nice pinch of salt, a little bit of oil. Just gonna help the veg brown up more and develop more flavor. Okay, so veg is prepared. Create a bit more space in our dough, just make sure it's nice and super thin. Let's take our pesto passata, which you see it's quite a thick sauce, which is great in that it's gonna be less likely to permeate that dough and make our dough soggy. Okay, coming in with our veg. Again, try to go with a slightly thinner layer, because again, we want to make sure this is enough heat and space to cook, so try not to go too thick with it. Okay, traditionally at this point now, someone would put cheese in the top. We want to make this dairy-free, but we don't want to miss out on the flavor and the calories. So we're going to put in a basil pesto. We have a really cool vegan basil pesto now, which is epic. So we're going to smear this on the top. Just little balls of flavor. And the last thing before it goes in the oven, pine nuts. Any type of nut you have or that you like, I think pine nuts go great. They're a little pricey at the moment, but we're just gonna add a little bit more flavor. Okay, as I said, we've preheated the oven 250 degrees. The heat is coming from the bottom, which is gonna make our base a little crispy, and in it goes. 12 minutes up, there we go. I got the gloves on, it's time to go pizza hunting. Rawr. That smells fab, it really does. Oh, it's hot in here. Oh wow, this looks beautiful. Wow, look at that. It looks fab, doesn't it? I'm gonna put some greens in the top, so whatever greens you like. I'm putting cilantro, I like cilantro. Take out your pizza cutter. See that lovely bit of crust? It's nice, good crust on it. Okay, here we are, the moment of glory. So there's our pizza. Pizza typically is an indulgent, not something to eat every day, just to remind people. So much flavour over it, really is. That dough is lovely, very nice. That's an epic vegan pizza. Not even a vegan pizza, just an epic pizza. Pizza can be really simple or really complex, depending on where you want to come from it. Today we've showed you a really simple approach to pizza. If you do want to let us do a more complicated one where we can show kind of more bells and whistles and kind of get more into the history of pizza, comment below and let us know, because it's something that we're really passionate about at the moment and would love to share it. But there you are, sending some pizza love for you. It's beautiful, it's delicious. What's not to love? Thanks for watching, and cheers. Ciao. Grazie.